All right then. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on the time that you're watching this. I know that all of you that watch it at different times, but I want you also to understand. On Friday, I couldn't answer many of your questions because I was on the road, so I do apologize for that. All right, I know many of you sends me questions about the story and everything, and I wanted to say first, all you had to do on Friday was just create three characters. The story, not yet. Right? Because the story, we're going to be creating the story together, little by little. Because I want you to do it right and grammatically correct with all the important parts that a story needs. So we're going to be taking like the process that a writer actually takes to make a story. But more on that later. Right now, we're going to be seeing the new lesson. Okay. Also, please understand that from 9 o'clock onward, I may not answer because that's when I'm trying. That's when I'm usually asleep. Okay. So let's begin now. The lesson for today, it's not really hard. All right. The lesson, it's not really hard, but it could be a little bit challenging for some. Ignore that. That is right there. All right. It could be challenging for some. We're going to be talking about quantifiers. All right. If you guys want to know where this is at in your book, you guys can find it on page 132. We're continuing lesson 2A. All right. Lesson 2A. We're continuing this lesson. Look, you guys can see it right here. See? Quantifiers. Now, quantifiers is when we use these words. You see right here? A few, some, a lot of, many. I can't. Many. And oh, here's what a little, some, a lot of. But remember how I told you in the at a class that do not use much for everything, right? Let me see. Uh, I'm sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained right now. Remember how I told you don't use much for everything? Well, the reason why I told you to not use much for everything is simple. That is because much can only be used with words that are uncountable. And that's what we're going to see today. We're going to see countable and uncountable. Uncountable. Right? So so we can understand how we use those words that we just saw in your that you have in your book. Now, countable and uncountable is actually pretty simple. It's not too hard. This actually we're going to see. We're going to be seeing less than the other video, mainly because this is the part where many of you guys already know how to speak and how to say sentences. But you may not know is how to use how much and how many properly. And that's what we're going to be seeing. Countable and uncountable. First, how to identify them. It's actually not hard, especially for you guys that understand and know English a little bit better. It's not hard to identify words that are countable. Let me put an example. Marker. I know, I like using marker, you know, the example marker, but that's because I have them right here. This is one marker, right? This is one marker. These are two markers, three markers, four markers, five markers. So the word marker, what do you think? Is countable or uncountable? By what I just showed. Marker would be countable. Let me explain. You can tell that a word is countable by two ways. One, you can add an S to it to make it plural, right? Markers. Or two, the way we count them. Notice the way we count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 markers. That's it, right? For example, I could do something like this. 5 markers. And that is countable. Let me put another example. Pen. What do you think? Is pen countable or uncountable? Countable, right? Because we could say 1 pen, 2 pens, 3 pence? That's simple, right? That's why it's countable. And we can add an S. Let's see what else. I'm sorry. I went to go grocery shopping, so I'm a little out of breath. I've been going all over the place today. All right. So let's continue. Let's continue a few more examples. Let's see. What else do I have in here? All right. This is going to be fun. What about this? Ink. The word ink. Is ink countable or uncountable? Is it still recording? All right. Yes, it is still recording. I apologize for that little error. I hope it doesn't really mess up too much the video, but let's continue. All right. So where were we? We had countable. Oh, it changed the. Huh. You know what? I'll change it to black this time around. All right. We had countable and uncountable. We already saw that countable. We have marker and we have pen, right? It's countable because we can add an S to both of them, and because we can count them like this, right? We just add a number. But what about this? The word ink. The word ink. You could probably say, well, teacher, I can count it, right? I mean, here we have 1, and here we have 2, and I mean, here we have 3. You could probably say that, right? You can say, oh, but, we can count it, right? That's why it's important that you guys don't take it very literal. No lo tomen literal. Never take it literal, actually. Because what it means is the word. Is the word countable, not the object? Because here, yeah, you can count it, right? 1, 2, and 3. But the word itself is uncountable. Notice. This is, how do we say this? Let's say, for example, these two. Do we say, oh yeah, I have 2 inks? No. We say, I have 2 bottles of ink. And that's how we know it's uncountable. 2 bottles of ink. That's simple. 3 bottles of ink. You guys see now how we can identify if a word is countable or uncountable? Never think about it as a literal sense, because if you do, you will mess up. Let's put another example. Let's put alcohol. And no, I'm not talking about drinking like beer or wine. No. I'm talking about actual alcohol, all right? Rubbing alcohol. So, alcohol, what do you think? Countable or uncountable? If you said, oh, it's countable, you're wrong. It's actually uncountable because, again, how do we count this? We count this 1 bottle of alcohol. Or, notice right here what it says. 500 milliliters, yep, 500 milliliters of alcohol. That's how we count alcohol. So alcohol will be uncountable. You guys see how it's being used, right? That's how we can identify if a word is countable or uncountable. And it's important that you guys try to be careful, okay? Because it could confuse many of you. Let's put a few words that I don't have examples with me right here. What about bread? What do you guys think? Is bread countable or uncountable? Again, you guys can say, well, yeah, I can count bread. But we count slices of bread, right? We count slices of bread. Slice. Or a loaf of bread. que ya es la rebanada. Loaf. So the word is uncountable. What about the word star? All right? Star. There you're going to say, oh, it's... What do you think? Is it countable or uncountable? Before I tell you. If you said countable, you are correct. Now, some of you may get confused here because you can say, what? We can't count the stars. You're right. We can't. There are trillions and trillions of stars. Right? We can have an approximation, but we don't know how many. But here's the thing. We still say 1 star, 2 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars. Am I wrong? That's how we know if it's countable or uncountable. You see? And that's how we use how much and how many, because how many is used when the word is countable, and how much is used when it's uncountable. Right? That is how we identify which one is countable or uncountable. And that's how we can actually identify which word. We're going to be practicing more in class, so I recommend that you guys practice it out. So I'm going to ask you guys to do something a little bit different than your classmates that watched the other video. Okay? I want you to identify which words are countable or uncountable. Okay? First and foremost, I want you to do this. All right? I want you to do this. Let's see. Here it is. I want you to remember that we use a few, some, a lot of, and many for words that are countable. And we use a little, some, and a lot for uncountable. For example, we saw bread, right? We could say, can I have a little bit of bread? Here's the thing. Here it says a little, but we usually use a little bit. A little bit of bread. Can I have some bread? Can I have a lot of bread? Same thing with countable. Yeah, can I have a few, let's see, can I have a few apples? Can I have some markers? Can I have a lot of markers? Can I have many markers? All right? You guys can use it. Okay? And how much and how many is used a lot for questions. Now, like I said, right now what I want to, you guys already know how to use many of these words and how to do many of these sentences. But what I want you guys to know the most is pretty much how to identify what is countable and uncountable. Okay? Now, I want you to notice here. Let's see. The last thing we're going to see, and then I'll tell you guys what you're going to do. Some and any. Oh, no, highlighter. I want you to just keep in mind, I want you to write, even though you have the notebook or the book, I want you to write this down in your notebook. What you guys are going to just understand is how we use some and any. Remember that any is used when it's a negative or a question, and some is used when it's affirmative. Keep in mind that some cannot be used with negative or questions. All right? You cannot put, they didn't take some fish. You can't. You cannot put, did you take some medicine? All right? No. It's, did you take any medicine? With questions, sometimes we can use some, but I recommend that you use any more than some, okay? But keep that in mind. That is some. All right. What I want you guys to do in countable or uncountable, I want you guys to identify, all right? I want you guys to use how many, how much. I want you to also use, let's see, what other words do we see? A few. All right, and here a little bit. a little bit of, and I want you to use them in sentences. All right, I want you to open up your refrigerator, and I want you to see what you have. Okay, see what you have. Okay, and I want you to write positive affirmative sentences using this one. Okay, let's see. For example, I have a few apples. Right, that's what you can write. I have a little bit of a little bit of butter. Now, of course, if you don't have a little bit, if you have like for some reason 5 tubs of butter, you can put I have five five. Let's see. Let's not put gallons. Let's put five. I forgot it. What was it? Five. Oh, I for the word escaped me right now. It really did. All right, let's just use 5 sticks of butter. 5 sticks of butter. It's important that if you guys don't. Now, here's the thing. If for some reason you guys don't know how to actually, count it, you could just put, you could just look at the packaging like we did here, right? And just put, all right, I have 500 milliliters of water, for example, right? I have 500 milliliters of water. You could put that. And then I want you to put if it's countable or uncountable. For example, this one is, oh, I messed up. This one is uncountable. And that's what you're going to do. I'm going to want 5 and 5, making 10 in total. All right? You choose how you're going to write it. You choose how much you're going to write. I want you guys to really, really use your brain muscles. Try and use all the language you know, and try and really understand the difference between countable and uncountable. And again, use your refrigerator. Use the food that you have. If you only have like a little bit of milk, you can say, oh, okay, I have a little bit of milk. If you don't, you can say, I have 1 gallon of milk. All right? Or I have 3 cups of milk. Okay? Or I have a few eggs, or I have 5 eggs, and that will be countable. Okay? But this example of what you have to do. We're going to be practicing a little bit more. And I really want your classmates everyone to understand this. So we're going to really practice this quite a bit because it's something that will help you out a lot, especially when it comes to writing and how not to mess up. Because how much and how many cannot be used for different things. Okay? And as a last little example, for example, the word money. What do you guys think? Are we going to use how much or how many? If you said how much, you are correct. Why? You're probably saying, teacher, we can count money. All right? See, I can count it. Count it. How do we say it? $1, $2, $3, right? We don't say 1 money, 2 money, 3 money. No. We say $1, $2, $3. That's why the word is uncountable. Can we add an S to money? Can we say monies? No, of course not. So that's why the word is also uncountable. Okay? And you can do the sentence like with a question like this. How much money do you want? And make sure to underline the word and put uncountable. Be creative, all right? Surprise me. I'm still checking your stories. I won't be giving them to you till a little bit later. I'm not going to lie. It's probably going to be the third partial when I'm going to really give you the stories, but bear with me and be patient, okay? Other than that, we're going to leave it right there, all right? Make sure you do this quickly. I didn't ask for too much. So other than that, take care. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Awkward silence before I stop the video. There we go. Goodbye.